plenty of us have dreams to try and create something that will inspire or even possibly change the world. Some of us even try and do it. We meet a team who over the past 8 years have been trying to do just that. Haxkeen Pan, South Africa, and a team of North Cape government employees are moving some 15,500 tons of rock, setting the stage for a project called Bloodhound, a plan to break the land speed record with the most complex racing car ever designed or built. Bloodhound began in Bristol, England, where more than 100 engineers gave up their day jobs at major aerospace and automotive giants to work on a project they hope will ignite a new generation of innovation in Britain. The team is led by aeronautical engineer Mark Chapman.
So we are a land speed record breaking project, but actually our main goal is to inspire a generation of children. So the whole reason for this project, the whole background to it, is to inspire a generation of kids to really get enthused by science, technology, engineering and mathematics.
Greenlit in 2008, Bloodhound's mission is to create a supersonic vehicle that will travel 1,000 miles per hour, 33% faster than the previous land speed record, and even faster than a speeding bullet. When you think about the younger generation being inspired by tech projects, you think about Google, smartphones. So why Bloodhound? Why land speed?
1,000-mile-an-hour car. If you're an 8-year-old boy or an 8-year-old girl, it's, I've got young kids as well. My eldest is an 8-year-old girl, and this is amazing though, that they see a thing that is actually pushing the boundaries. It's got 135,000 horsepower, it's got 20 tons of thrust, 60 feet of flame out the back of it, and a guy sat there driving it faster than an aircraft has ever gone at altitude. That gets kids excited.
The plan is Bloodhound will travel from 0 to 1,000 miles per hour in just 55 seconds and back to 0 again in a little over a minute. It should cover 12 miles. That might sound daunting until you realise Bloodhound is the brainchild of Richard Noble, who has a history in high-octane records.
After years of frustrating and expensive setbacks, Richard Noble finally did it.
In 1983, Noble himself was in the driving seat when his first vehicle, Thrust, broke the land speed record, travelling at some 633 miles an hour.
Just how does it feel to hold the world land speed record?
Well, I don't know yet. We've only had it a few minutes.
In 1997, his team broke the land speed record again, crossing the Nevada desert in Thrust SSC at some 763 miles per hour.
So the British have proven it is possible to drive a car faster than the speed of sound.
You have a lot of people on the team that have credibility in doing this before. Tell me about Richard.
He just breathes, lives, speaks, talks about land speed records. He's the world's second fastest man. He probably won't like me saying that, but in 1983, he actually drove a car at 633 miles an hour. He's got this huge pedigree, and this team that is now Bloodhound started off with Thrust 2 through to Thrust SSC, all the way through to Bloodhound today. And that kind of call of him leading that team forward has been part of that project.
With Britain having held the record for almost a decade, talk began about possible American and Australian bids to surpass Thrust 2, which put Noble on notice.
Bloodhound does have some realistic competitors. So in America, we've got North American Eagle. That's the F-104 Starfighter. That was running to a few hundred miles an hour in the last couple of months. And they're not looking for 1,000 miles an hour, but they're a credible attempt at a land speed record. Then in Australia, we've got Aussie Invader 5R, so the Roscoe McLachlan cars. That's a pure rocket car. That is a serious competitor. That is capable of 1,000 miles an hour. He's currently, the car's in build at the moment. He's looking for developing on the rocket, but that is a very credible car.
But with those teams planning on beating 1997 by mere miles, the plan for Bloodhound is to wipe it out once and for all. To get to 1,000 miles per hour, Bloodhound will use a drivetrain combination of traditional fuel-injected engine, a jet engine, and what will become Europe's largest ever rocket. Dangerous though, going from 800 miles up to 1,000. What happens?
So Bloodhound's goal is 1,000 miles an hour. Do we think it's going to get there? Theoretically, yes. We're very confident. We've got 20 tons of thrust. We've got a fantastic surface. We've got a great car. We've got a fantastic team. However, No one's gone faster than 763. There may be things that we don't understand. When Thrusters to Sea broke the sound barrier in 97, there were things that they hadn't anticipated. Who knows what's going to happen between 800 and 1,000. But as a project, we're very confident what we have will achieve the goals we've set.
But all this tech isn't cheap. In June 2012, construction finally gets underway, 2 years after initially planned, and with just half the money needed to complete the record attempt in South Africa.
What about the funding? That's obviously such an important aspect of it. How much further do you have to go?
To get us through to 1,000 miles an hour, we believe we need something like 40 million.
So you've got the plan here, which just looks extraordinary. How did it all come together?
So this kind of shows pretty much why the car's as big as it is. Everyone goes around, why is the car 41 foot long, 12 foot tall? So we've got jet engine at the back, rocket engine at the back. As you go forward through the car, we've got the Jaguar engine. Now the Jaguar engine we're only using to pump the fuel for the rocket. So there's a tank just behind where Andy sits. We empty that tank in 17 seconds.
Oh, tell me more about the rockets and how those will work.
So we have, at the back end, we've got the jet engine. So that's a EJ200 from Eurofighter Typhoon. And then below that, we've got a rocket we've developed with Nammo. So Nammo's a Norwegian company. For year one, we have a single rocket, and that's giving us enough thrust to get us to about 800 miles an hour. Then for year two, we need 3 of those rockets together. And those 3 rockets together give us a total of 20 tons of thrust to get us to 1,000 miles an hour.
What makes the Bloodhound so unique?
It's just the combination of technologies. So we are one of the few land speed record cars that is a mixture of a jet engine and a rocket. And it's really small. It's really, there's some talk that when we achieve 1,000 miles an hour, this will maybe set the barrier for a land speed record, and it will stay for a generation. Because actually the technologies we're pushing on this car, we're reaching the absolute limits of what we can do at the moment.
And Mark, when it's done its job, and hopefully it will succeed and it will give you that world record, what do you do with it after?
The legacy of the project is the education. So the whole reason we started this project was education, and when we finish the project, it will be in a museum, and the amount of resource that we can share afterwards will be an ongoing legacy for the next decade.
The G-forces inflicted on Bloodhound's driver will be unlike anything withstood by a human before. So the team turned to the closest thing to Bloodhound yet, fighter jets and RAF pilot Andy Green. He also knows the team pretty well.
Andy, you broke the last land speed record. Why and how important was that for you?
18 years ago now, 1997, we took the thrust supersonic car to a new world land speed record of 763 miles an hour. Actually did what it said on the tin, supersonic car. This was the first land speed record ever faster than the speed of sound. That was very important because it dispelled a lot of myths, and that was an extraordinary demonstration of science and technology on a global stage.
Bloodhound's cockpit is custom designed so every control is within arm's length, right down to the millimetre. The seat will be cast of carbon fibre to the exact parameters of Andy's body to ensure there is no single pressure point that would be amplified at speed, potentially injuring him. But physiologically, there are still any number of other unknowns.
You think about 3G. 3G is 60 miles an hour per second. So, when you're driving home, don't try this on the way home this afternoon.
I certainly won't.
But if you think about driving at 60 miles an hour and coming to a complete stop in 1 second, that's 3G. That's what it's going to feel like, and that would be a very violent experience in a road car. 60 to 0 in 1 second, going to be physiologically very hard work. It's going to be very noisy, there's going to be a lot going on, and I'm going to be fighting to keep the car straight.
Still, for someone who will effectively drive an untested vehicle roughly 4 times the speed of the fastest ever Formula One car, Andy is surprisingly calm.
How dangerous will it be though, Andy? You're going to be up front in that seat with all these rockets behind you.
Honestly, I would disagree with you that it is dangerous. Fundamentally, it comes down to a land speed record. There are no other cars out there. We are running on a hand-prepared surface. The South Africans have spent 6 years clearing a huge area. It's smooth, it's clear. That's not to say we're underestimating it.
And how do your family really feel about the risks that you're going to be taking?
My wife, genuinely, she's really keen to see it finished and running. We've been married for 8 years. We started the project 8 years ago. She's never known life outside of this project, so she's quite keen to go, right, let's do this land speed record thing, get it over with, and then actually promote the legacy of it.
After the break, on Bloodhound,
When we said we were part spaceship, we now are, in that we have a rocket motor for a space launch program.
and
When does the money need to come in by?
We're funded for the time being, we just need to keep going through to Christmas.